Here's exactly how to eat a fuck ton of food every single day so you can always hit your bulking goals. From the beginning, I was always a skinny kid. I was one of those kids where it was impossible for me to gain weight. Even after I started working out, after that first year where you traditionally gain a bunch of weight because you're sort of flipping the switch, you gain a little bit of weight. I went on a 4 year continuous bulk and I could hardly gain any weight. The reason was A, because I wasn't really good with consistency and discipline with my diet. I found it hard to follow. And B, I had a really hard time putting on any weight. It was just my genetic makeup. I was naturally lean and a hard time gaining any weight. And so, out of necessity, I learned how to eat a fuck ton of food every single day so that I could finally gain weight. I was never one of those kids where I could just eat 200 to 300 calories above my maintenance and then gain weight. That never worked for me. I had to learn out of necessity how to eat a fuck ton of food every single day so I could finally hit my bulking goals. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to do the exact same thing so you can hit your bulking goals and stop being victim weight, stop being a skinny little bitch, finally put some meat on your bones and gain weight. Be like a big, dangerous motherfucker. This is extremely important, by the way, because weight is one of the most important aspects of your physique. Even if you're cut and lean and you're beginning to develop some muscle mass, if you are light, you will not be impressive. If you are still victim weight, you won't look good in a t-shirt. You'll still look skinny. No one will notice the difference when you have actual clothes on. You won't be impressive. You won't be respectable. You won't look intimidating or have other people look at you and be like impressed with you. If you're still lightweight, you're still skinny. You've got to gain weight. It is one of the biggest things. And I know this because I was that guy. I got very cut, very lean early on. I got a six pack early on because of my genetics, but I was still light. The biggest and best thing for my physique was when I actually gained weight. This is something you really need to focus on and take seriously because it's easy to actually push yourself in the gym and begin developing muscle mass, but it's really hard to gain size. If you want to get an actual V taper instead of just like, oh yeah, he has like a small waist and a six pack and you can kind of see his delts. If you want to get an actual meaty V taper, you have to pay attention. You have to focus on gaining weight. In this video, I'm going to try to make it extremely easy and straightforward for you to do because once you get into the habit and the rhythm of doing this, it actually becomes kind of automatic and you begin eating a fuck ton of food every single day without even realizing it. But I need to teach you how. Some of the biggest breakthroughs for me in bulking was actually when I learned a new trick or a new tip and I implemented it. It wasn't necessarily just me pushing harder and just being like, oh, I need to be more disciplined and whatever with my diet. It was actually when I learned something that I implemented that made it a whole lot easier and helped me to gain weight. And so in this video, I'm going to try and teach you everything I know about eating a ton so that you can bulk in order to make it kind of easy for you so that when you begin to implement all of this in your daily life, you will naturally begin just eating a fuck ton of food and gaining a bunch of weight. And by the way, the rate of weight gain from what I'm going to teach you is more than what is like, I don't know, like recommended by like fitness tracking apps and shit like that. They say, oh, you need to gain like 1 pound per week, and that's it. Like, no, you can gain more. It can be muscle mass, and it's going to be extremely effective. The first thing you need to do to eat a fuck ton of food and hit your bulking goals is actually something you wouldn't expect, and that is to weigh yourself daily, first thing in the morning, right after you wake up. The reason this is important is because when you weigh yourself daily, you have an honest number, an honest tracking of where you are currently at in your journey to gain weight. If you weigh yourself daily, you know the progress that you've made towards your goal, and it puts that goal in the forefront of your mind. So you're always constantly thinking about it, right? A lot of times, the problem with diet is that it is an all day thing. It's not like the gym. The gym is like an hour and a half to 2 hours a day where you push yourself hard, and then at the end, you can kind of forget about it. With diet, you are eating all day. Okay? I wanted to let that sink in. Diet is a full-time job. It's very, very, very difficult. The benefit of weighing yourself daily is When you wake up and you weigh yourself first thing in the morning, that immediately puts your goal to the forefront of your mind. So if you weigh yourself in the morning and you're kind of slipping, you're kind of, going down in weight or you're not going up in weight, then that kind of triggers a mental reaction where you start to feel a little bit guilty and you're like, oh shit, like I'm not making progress towards my goal, even though I said I would. And that feels kind of bad, which is kind of like a little bit of a negative thought. It's kind of bad for your mental health. At the same time, it's really good because it brings that goal to the forefront of your mind. You're going to spend almost the entire day thinking about your diet and your goal because you weighed yourself and you're not making progress towards it. On the other hand, if you weigh yourself in the morning and you actually weigh more and you're making progress towards your goal, that's going to bring up a surge of confidence. That's going to bring up a positive feeling that's going to make you happy through the rest of the day and also more mindful about achieving your goal. When you track yourself, when you track your weight, that is a level of accountability that helps you to achieve your goals better by making you more mindful of your diet throughout the day. Weighing yourself daily, tracking honestly how much you weigh first thing in the morning before you drink any water, do anything like that, put any clothes on, is one of the best ways to become better at dieting. The biggest tip for eating a fuck ton of food every single day is to eat early. Eat first thing in the morning, right after you weigh yourself. When you eat early, you instantly begin consuming calories and you'll be able to get more calories in by the end of the day. From now on, make a commitment to start your day off with one, weighing yourself every single day, and then two, immediately after, make a smoothie or a snack that you can eat right after weighing yourself. I like to make a smoothie right now, a high calorie, high protein smoothie that consists of 3 cups of milk, one banana, 3 tablespoons of almond butter, and 2 scoops of whey protein. You should do this before you shower or even get dressed. Do this immediately. You need to make a commitment to make this your new morning routine, I guess. Add this to your morning routine. You can imagine how, if you eat early, almost instantly, your digestion begins working earlier. So let's say instead of waiting until like an hour or two after you wake up to eat, if you eat immediately, your digestion is going to start working immediately and you're going to get hungry earlier. If you wait an hour after you wake up to eat because you're doing your morning routine, that's going to be an hour that you are not hungry later. So that's going to push lunch off. So you're not going to be really hungry for lunch until an hour after where it could be if you just ate instantly, right? So the earlier that you eat, the earlier that you begin consuming, the earlier that you will be hungry and ready for all of the other meals and snacks throughout the day. And also eating instantly, having that kind of snack instantly in the morning just adds like extra calories to the end of the day. So you can get some extra calories and it's like one of those snacks where it really just helps to bump up the calorie count so you can achieve your goals at the end of the day. The second tip is to track every single calorie at least for one day. First of all, in order to track both your weight and your calories, you need to download an app called MyFitnessPal on your phone. It's completely free. It helps with diet tracking and weight tracking and hitting your goals. It's extremely popular. I use it every single day. You need to download that on your phone. This is an actual step. Pause the video right now. Go download MyFitnessPal on your phone so you can begin tracking your meals and your calories. It's very simple. You just go to the log page and then you can search up different ingredients or different meals and stuff like this, different snacks, and you can add them to your log every single day so that at the end of the day, it knows exactly how many macros and calories that you have eaten so you can see if you've achieved your goal or not and how close you've gotten. Every plateau in my bulk that I've had could be explained by me either not tracking or not looking at the data if I had been tracking. And every time I was tracking and I checked the data, I could understand why I had hit a plateau in my bulk. By the way, you may be one of those people that believes that you don't need to track anything to gain weight and you're just going to eat more and then is shocked when you don't gain weight and your bulk hits a plateau. I used to be this kid. I used to believe that I didn't need to track anything and that it was too inconvenient and I could just drink some protein shakes and then just eat a bit more and then I could achieve my goals. If you are trying to eat a fuck ton of food every single day to gain crazy weight, you can't rely on just feeling like you're eating enough. You have to track your calories. I can guarantee that if you're doing that, if you're trying to just eat more and you're not tracking, you're overestimating the amount of calories you think you're eating during a single day. So many people that try to bulk without tracking just fail. It happens all the time. If you're not gaining weight, if you want to gain weight, you need to track. It's so important. And similar to tracking your weight every single morning, if you track all of your meals, this will keep your goal at the forefront of your mind. Okay? So you need to stop coping and track. I know it's a bit inconvenient and hard. You really just need to get over it and do it. It's not that difficult. You just open an app and you jot down every single thing that you ate during the day as you eat it. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. If that happens to be the thing between you hitting your goal and you not hitting your goal, which I see all the time, I ask people all the time if they're tracking when they say, "Hey, do you have any advice for me? Are you, how can I bulk up like you? I'm trying to get like you." And I ask them, "Oh, you tracking your meals?" And they go, "No." That's the first thing I tell them is to track their meals. It's so important because you can't just feel like you're eating more. You have to actually track and make sure you're hitting your goals every single day. If you're not, you're going to overestimate and you're not going to hit your goals. You're not going to gain weight. I know it's a bit difficult and it might seem silly to you, but just stop being a bitch and do it. Just take your app and start tracking all of your meals. It's not that hard. And as I said, if that's the thing between you hitting your goal and you not hitting your goal, it's worth doing. If you really find tracking too inconvenient for a long period of time, what you can do is track one day, at least one day, figure out when you hit your goal, and then just repeat that day over and over. So if you track like a single day of eating and then it's like, okay, that didn't hit my goal. And then so you're like, okay, I'm gonna add these snacks or increase these ingredients in meals. Then you end up hitting your goal. Then you're like, all right, I know that if I eat this every single day, I'm going to always hit my goal. Then in that case, you don't need to track every single day. The point is you need to have the data and know that you're hitting your goal every single day. If you don't, you're probably not. Then once you've tracked at least one day of eating like this where it kind of achieves your goals, so you get to the end of that day and you know that if you eat like that every single day, you're always going to achieve your goals, then that can be a part of your meal plan, right? That day captured can be your meal plan, and you can repeat that day over and over and over because you know those meals are high calorie, those snacks are high calorie. And if you eat all of that, then you can achieve your goals every single day. That is what a meal plan is. A meal plan could be physical or just kind of mental, something you remember in your head. But the point is, if you know what you're going to eat the day before you do, then you'll always be able to hit your goals easier. So if you wake up and you have no idea what you're going to eat, and you just think, oh, I got to eat a lot today, but you don't have a plan, what's the likelihood that you're actually going to know what to eat in order to hit your goals? Whereas if you have a plan in mind, whether that's written down in your like notes app, or it's just something in your head where you know, okay, I'm going to eat this and then I'm going to achieve my goals, then you're way more likely to actually eat a fuck ton of food that day. It's so important to have a meal plan. This is maybe one of the biggest things for eating a fuck ton of food and bulking up is having a meal plan. Because if you don't know what you're going to eat, but you have this vague idea that I'm just going to eat a ton, that's not a plan, and you're not going to eat a ton. You're not going to eat a fuck ton of food in a day. So make sure you have a meal plan. A smart idea is to write out a meal plan. It's just lists your meals. It lists your snack first thing in the morning, first of all, your smoothie, your breakfast smoothie, or your snack. Then it lists breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, and exactly what those things are. Try and find like calorie totals for all of those, so you kind of know how many calories all of those all of those contain. So you know at the end of the day, you're going to eat a fuck ton of food. You're gonna have eaten a fuck ton of food. It's so important to do that. This is an actual step right now, actually, is you should have downloaded MyFitnessPal. Go in there and kind of like experiment a little bit. Go to the log and just put in food that you haven't actually eaten yet, right? Try and like make up a day. And then in the app, check out how many calories each of them has, and you just kind of like sort of plan out a day where you know you're going to hit your goals by the end of the day. So write out different ingredients, different snacks, like all the meals and the snacks. Try to write those out. Modify it a little bit if it doesn't seem to fight quite fit the goal, so it doesn't quite achieve the goal. And then once it does, write that down in your notes app on your phone. So that is your first meal plan. That is your first meal plan. And it's subject to change. So if you find it's really hard to follow this particular meal plan because one snack is really hard to get down, I don't like this, or one meal takes too long to cook, or I just don't like this one, it tastes disgusting, then you can change up the meal plan and modify it a little bit, and so it kind of adapts as you get better and better at bulking. Now, what should you eat? If you can, prepare and eat whole food meals containing one source of carbs, one source of protein, and maybe something else like some vegetables or a little bit of extras, right? What do I mean by that? Whole food ingredients are basically ingredients that come sourced as closely to nature as possible. Think rice, potatoes, chicken, steak, things like this. They're not processed or prepared or turned into something else. They're simply ingredients sourced very, very, very close to nature, right? They're basically just harvested and then put for sale. If you do that, you can combine the one source of carbs and the one source of proteins and whatever else you want in there, and you can portion them correctly to get really, really calorie dense, but also nutrient dense meals. You should really try to avoid dirty bulking, which is a very like popular thing now. It's just like, oh, let's just go and buy a bunch of junk food and then eat a bunch of junk food and then we're gonna gain weight, right? The problem with that is your energy is gonna be lower, your mood's gonna be lower, your hormones are gonna be fucked up. You're probably gonna end up looking like a slob, a little like a piece of shit slob because you're eating trash. And it's not as good as whole food meals. Like if I'm being honest, if you know how to cook, if you like fucking learn how to cook, which I think every man should, you can make whole food meals taste way better. There's a lot of benefits to clean bulking as opposed to dirty bulking. Dirty bulking is not good for you. It's kind of like the instant gratification version of bulking, right? So it's very tempting to people with low willpower because they'll be like, "Oh, I can eat just a bunch of junk food and then I can gain weight." No, don't do it. Just clean bulk. I personally find clean bulking easier, by the way, because it's easier for me to prepare the exact ingredients to make sure that I have enough calories in a single meal, as opposed to like a hamburger on a menu where I know the calories, but I don't exactly know the carbs and the proteins. And like, I don't know. And when you go out, like, it's a bit harder to plan so that you can get a meal that is like high enough calories so that you know you're going to achieve your goal, right? It's kind of that unpredictable element when you go out somewhere and you're just eating out. Like, you just kind of hope they have what you want on the menu. You hope that you can find enough calories that you can achieve your goals. Whereas if you home cook meals, if you make whole food meals, then you can always portion exactly. You have like a higher level of control. Does this make sense? You have a much higher level of control. You can ensure that this meal is going to check off 1/3 of my calorie goal today. So I know if I eat this meal, because I've portioned it exactly, I can achieve this amount of calories, and that's on track. That being said, it takes a lot of time and attention to cook whole food meals, to prepare whole food meals. So there's two things you can do. One is to meal prep. That is, you prepare meals for upcoming days on a certain day, right? So for the next 3 to 4 days, you prepare in one evening. You prepare enough food to cover, all the lunches the next couple days, and all the breakfasts for the next couple days, or the dinners for the next couple days. And two, you can sort of add a little bit of fast food into your diet if that's more convenient, right? So I used to work a desk job with some other people, and we would always go out to lunch together, right? It would have been, I could have meal prepped and then I could have brought that to my desk and then I could have ate that. And that would have worked, but it was just more convenient for me to go out to lunch with everyone else and then like attempt to like order something off the menu that I kind of knew was high calorie, right? So there's a bit of like, you're allowed a little bit of kind of dirty bulking if it's like one meal during the day and you just have to get the calories in and this is just the way to do it, right? This is just kind of the the thing you have to do. If you're going to do that, make sure you order, an order that checks off your calorie goals. This is the beauty of tracking too. You can track basically any restaurant's items in MyFitnessPal and you can see, okay, how many calories did this meal get me? What is the carb count with the protein count roughly? Where am I here? And then if you go there again and you find out like that order, okay, that order wasn't really enough. Maybe I need to order something bigger or I need to order two items, right? The point is just know what you're eating. Make sure that you are in control enough of your diet that you are achieving your goals every single day. For snacks, you want to pick something that you can eat easily, but is also kind of calorie dense. So for me, right now, what I'm doing is I'm drinking 1 glass or roughly 3 cups of milk between meals, right? But it can be other stuff. It could be 2 slices of toast. It could be some almonds or something like that, right? You just want to make sure that you're filling the gap in time between breakfast and lunch and dinner because those are the periods where you're not totally hungry, but you're not super full, right? And you kind of have to eat within those gray areas sometimes. You have to eat when you're not fully hungry. Because when your appetite sort of somewhat comes back after a meal, that's a great opportunity to start eating more fucking food every single day. And so you need to fill that time between breakfast and lunch, and then lunch and dinner with eating. This leads me to another point, which is GOMAD. GOMAD stands for gallon of milk a day, and it's a tactic used by bodybuilders to gain a bunch of weight really, really fast, and it works. This is our fail-safe for gaining weight. If you're already doing the right things, you're cooking the right meals, or you're checking off all of your calories, you're snacking correctly, you're doing everything previously mentioned correctly, you're eating a fuck ton of food. But you're not gaining weight or you're not gaining weight at a rate that you like. GOMAD is the fail-safe, right? I don't want you to drink a gallon of milk a day. I don't think for you that's probably not necessary or in your interest to drink a gallon of milk every single day. So I'm not saying you do that. But what you should do is drink an extra liter of milk a day and increase that by another liter daily until you gain weight at a rate that you like, right? So for me, that's roughly a little over 2 liters of milk a day. If I'm drinking 3 cups of milk in the smoothie, 3 cups of milk after breakfast, 3 cups of milk after lunch, that's a little over 2 liters of milk a day. For you, slowly increase the amount of milk that you drink every single day until you begin gaining weight at a rate that you enjoy. This really fucking works, by the way. Make sure you're not substituting actual food for milk. But once you add milk in, I especially recommend it as to replace that kind of snack between breakfast and lunch and dinner. That's a good place to insert it. Once you begin doing that, you will seriously begin gaining weight. It'll become much easier for you. But the catch is, you will gain body fat faster. So you do have to keep kind of an eye on it and be careful with it. A little bit of body fat, of course, is unavoidable if you're going to be doing this, where you eat a fuck ton of food every single day and you're, on track to hit your bulking goals. But you want to be careful with it. That said, you can be too worried about fat gain when you're trying to bulk. Yeah, I'm just going to say this because it's funny. A lot of kids talk about, not wanting to get fat, not wanting to gain fat while I'm bulking and shit like that. This is a common excuse as to why they're not really gaining that much weight. I'm just gonna say it like you're thinking like a little girl. You're talking like a girl, pretty much. You're like, oh, am I getting fat? Am I starting to look fat? Think about that. You're obsessed with being skinny and lean at the expense of building up your frame, gaining a ton of weight, and stopping being victim weight. Don't be like that. Don't be like a girl. Do I look fat? Yes, bro, you're a fat piece of shit because you're gaining weight, you're bulking up, and you're gonna hit a fucking really heavy weight before you cut down. You're gonna cut down later. These things have to go in phases. You can't be scared of gaining fat when you're trying to bulk because it's inevitable, and trying to stay lean while you're bulking is it's not impossible, but it's not effective. It's so much trouble for yourself because you're going to gain weight at such a slow rate that you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. If you try and gain like lean bulk or whatever it is, up to, whatever your goal weight is, by that time you could have bulked up here and then cut back down here so much sooner. You could have hit your goal so much sooner by just eating a fuck ton of food, gaining a ton of weight, and then cutting back down to whatever your goal weight was, whatever your goal weight lean is. You need to stop being scared of being like fat, like being really like oh I'm gaining body fat, I'm gaining fat. Yeah, because you're gaining weight, bro. You're fucking gaining weight because you're eating a lot. Good job. Keep it up. You can cut it off later. It's not a big deal. Don't be scared about gaining body fat. It's just the way things go. It's natural in bulking. You will probably have a hard time getting all of the food down first, but this is normal because your appetite hasn't adapted. Your gut microbiome and all the flora in your gut will adapt very, very quickly to the amount that you're eating. And pretty soon you're actually going to find that you turn into kind of like a ravenous sort of monster of a man that just like eats everything in sight. And you actually get hungry super, super fast. So even if it feels like it makes you like a bit sick the first couple of days you do it, the first like 3 days you do it, keep at it because you will adapt quickly. That feeling will go away and you'll get extremely hungry. Your body will get used to eating that much. Now, if you want specific meals, I would recommend going to some sort of AI chatbot like Grok or ChatGPT or something like that and asking it for certain meals that kind of hit calorie goals and are calorie dense, very like heavy meals that you can make with whole foods, right? But I'm just going to list you sort of a standard day of eating for me. First of all, I wake up and then I immediately have my breakfast smoothie that I mentioned before. After I get ready and I shower and all of that, I end up having, ordinarily it's like 6 scrambled eggs with a can of black beans. I just scramble them up in the pan. That's a very high calorie meal. It has a lot of carbs, lots of protein, and it's delicious. Sometime between breakfast and lunch, I normally have 3 cups of milk. So I just get a big tall glass that I know is 3 cups, and then I pour milk into it. You can use, I'm using whole milk right now, but 2% milk is better for limiting fat gain. So I'd recommend that you start with 2% milk. For lunch, I normally have a meal. It's kind of like all over the place, but ordinarily it's something like 3 cups of some sorts of carbohydrates, and then like roughly 2 cups of some source of protein. So, for example, 3 cups of cooked rice and 2 cups of something like salmon, right? Well, 2 cups of salmon, 2 fillets of salmon, or something like that, right? Or 2 cups of steak, 2 cups of ground beef, something like that. After my workout, I have my second snack. That is 3 cups of milk with a scoop of whey protein. So I have a protein shake right after my workout. And then at the very end of the day, I have another meal similar to lunch where it's 3 cups of some sorts of carbohydrate and 2 cups, excuse me, of some sort of protein. For example, 3 cups of cooked pasta is one of my favorite meals. 3 cups of cooked pasta, 2 cups of chicken, and some basil pesto. So like chicken pesto pasta, which is amazing. That's kind of a standard day of eating for me. And because, as I mentioned before, you'll get kind of like ravenous, like your appetite will adapt, you'll get super hungry. I normally have extra snacks between then. So between all my meals and my snacks, I mean. So I'll have something like slices of toast or something like that, or like a random bowl of oatmeal is like a fourth meal. And it doesn't bother me anymore because I'm used to eating a fuck ton of food, and that's exactly what I want for you. It's so, as I mentioned at the start of this video, it becomes so easy once you get into the rhythm of it. Your body adapts to all the food you're putting in it. You adapt to kind of the lifestyle changes and the habits necessary to to eat the snacks and make the meals and stuff like this. And yeah, it just becomes like so much easier. Soon you don't really have to think about it. You're just like, okay, yep, I'm gonna wake up, have my smoothie. That's instant calories. And like and then I'm gonna have a big breakfast, and then it's just like you get so used to it, it becomes a part of your life. And this is kind of the beauty of dieting. It's a bit of like it's dieting is kind of a paradox because it can be super hard, super difficult, really difficult, but you're already eating every single day. So if you can get the habits right, if you can become really good at dieting and bulking up, you're already eating every single day. So it's not that much of a toll if you can learn how to do it correctly and you get used to kind of the difficult habits in order to properly bulk up, to just make this a regular part of your life. It's just, oh yeah, I eat a fuck ton of food every single day. And then soon you'll be the guy at work or in your friend group that's just fucking eating all the time and eating like everything. And it doesn't even bother you anymore. And you have a ton of energy because you've got a ton of calories in your system and shit. And you're gaining weight. You're pushing more weight in the gym and you're weighing more, you're getting closer to your bulking goals. This becomes so easy once you begin getting in that rhythm. It's very hard at first actually. But if you were to implement everything I taught you in this video today, you would go from who I used to be, which was this skinny kid that couldn't gain any weight, who was genetically predisposed to being a skinny little victim weight bitch, to becoming someone that can always accomplish their bulking goals, eat a fuck ton of food, push a ton of weight, weigh a ton. I want to turn you into a unit of a man, bro. That's what I want. I want to turn you into a unit of a man. All of the watch time that you've put into this video so far is useless if you don't implement this. Okay? You need to make sure you're weighing yourself every single morning. You need to make sure you're drinking a smoothie, you're making some sort of like breakfast snack right after you wake up and you weigh yourself. First thing. You need to make sure you're eating calorie dense meals with snacks in between. Right? Track all of your calories. Make sure you know that you're eating enough every single day consistently, because if you're not, that works against you. Make sure you're drinking milk make sure you're employing your fail safe, right? You're drinking milk if you aren't gaining weight at the rate that you want to. To slowly start drinking like 1 liter of milk, maybe 2 liters of milk, up to 4 liters of milk a day. No more than that because that's bad, but employ your fail safe, right? And then you will begin to actually see results. I want this video to be valuable to you. So this is like serious. Implement what I teach you in this video, okay? You can start by simply downloading MyFitnessPal, setting up your account, and then begin sort of creating a meal plan, right? Begin tracking your calories, sort of create a meal plan that can be physical in your notes app, or it can be sort of mental, so you know what to eat every single day. And if you implement what I taught you in this video, you will gain a fuck ton of weight. You will eat a fuck ton of food every single day and gain a fuck ton of weight. If you got any value from this video, there's something you can do which is a win-win for both of us, which is to scroll down and click the subscribe button. I win because I get a new subscriber. You win because anytime I have a new insight, learn something new, or try something new, I can make a video and directly give you value. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Also, if you liked this, the top link in the description is my full program where basically I teach everything about how to get an aesthetic physique, all 4.5 years of my experience put into one single program. You should click that link and check it out. Watch the attached video and read what it's about and see if it's for you. Because if it is for you, then you'll benefit a lot from checking it out and maybe signing up for it. Either way, have an amazing day. Go subscribe. Bye.